Howard, Miss Princess, Miss Gabriella. Good to see you. Mr. George Ridley, how are you doing today, sir? I hope you guys are doing well. So, hey guys, I'm going to share with you guys. Mr. Samad is actually managing a couple of things family-wise. So, over the next couple of days, he's going to be in the background making a couple moves, but it's always for the benefit of what we do as an organization. And the beauty about teams is that we work together to move the ball forward. And one of the things that I want to share with you guys this morning, I'm going to do two parts today. One is leveraging some information from the Four Agreements. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to read this book, but either or, I've been studying everything that comes my way. One of the reasons why I'm studying everything I'm coming my way, because I understand that if I'm going to create something bigger than what I currently am, I got to figure out how to grow. And one of the reasons why I've been telling people that became valuable to me is because every time I tried to transition towards something new, I realized that there was something in me that had to change. And in the process of that changing, it kind of organized a different way of thinking. I happen to have an opportunity to meet with a young lady yesterday that's a college student, and her frame of thought was excellent when I say at least from her current structure, her current understanding, her current goals and vision. And I can remember when I went back to school that one of the things that I liked about being around college students was that they just saw the future very differently because there's a lot of things that maybe they are not as exposed to yet, or maybe it has they are not exposed, they have a wide vision of what's actually possible. And in the wide vision of what's possible, you begin to understand that there's opportunity. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and then I'm going to share a little bit of training. We've actually created a workshop from that information that Mr. Samad actually shared. And I think those are the two value pieces that I want to offer the group today. And then we'll open up the call for some of the other leaders and many of you guys who want to share maybe some of the particular wins or some statements or after I help add some value. But I highly recommend that you take as many notes as possible. Today, I'm learning that the reason why you're taking notes is because you begin to realize that there's a lot of other great moving parts. First of all, if you're not using ChatGPT or some version of AI, I'm going to tell you it's actually become one of my best friends. A lot of times, I'm leveraging the tools of today so that we can build a bigger version. But one of the things that that I wrote yesterday on June 8th, through the help of AI and also through the thoughts that I write every day, every morning when I get up, 4 or 5:30 a.m., one of the first things that I got to get to is understanding. And I go take care of some things for my parents. And after I go do that, one of the things that I'm always doing is I'm listening and I'm pouring into myself in preparation of the entire day. One of the things that I wrote yesterday was that it taught me in the book that there are four agreements that you will learn. And one of the agreements was outside of the idea of what you are saying out of your mouth, that the words that you speak are very powerful. So you have to be careful what you're saying to yourself and what you are saying to others, basically. But one of the other things that it taught me that broke a level of freedom in my mind was that there's nothing to be taken personal, actually. What that means is if you begin to train yourself in the understanding that nothing is personal, it doesn't really matter anymore. Meaning that, hey, maybe people feel a certain way, they might think a certain way, they might have a certain structure and belief, but that has nothing to do with how you believe, and it has nothing to do with you personally. Sometimes maybe people try to speak to you a certain way, but I think maybe because of how they try to speak to you, it's probably how they're really speaking to themselves. But at the same time, I don't need to pick up that worry or that concern or that challenge. Matter of fact, it said, one of the most powerful lessons from the Four Agreements is simply to understand don't take anything personal. It says when you stop taking things personal, you gain the freedom that I realize to focus on your purpose instead of people's opinions, actions, or their inconsistencies. Now, the reason why I identified with this is because I used to be somebody that didn't have enough action in them. I used to be somebody that was inconsistent. I used to be somebody that would provide an opinion where maybe it wasn't required, wasn't needed, wasn't even asked of me. But I understood that, well, if that was true for me once, that could be true for anybody else. But it's not my job to pick up anything and take it personal. Matter of fact, what it actually did was like saying, hey, I really am no worried. I'm no longer worried whether you show up to an appointment. I hope you show up to an appointment. I hope you come to the meeting because I'm looking forward to potentially sharing how I could help you financially. But if you don't show up, all it really means is that maybe something could have happened that I don't know, and I don't know how it happened, why it's happening, but there is a reason. Maybe you changed your mind, maybe you forgot, but it's not personal. Maybe you don't want to do it. You don't know how to tell me that you don't want to do it, so it's not personal. Why are these things important? Because I realize I'm a builder, I'm an entrepreneur. The difference between an entrepreneur and anybody else is that an entrepreneur cannot worry about what's not possible. The only thing that the entrepreneur can do is be concerned about what is possible because there's no guarantees in the entrepreneur business except for that the guarantees that you begin to create. See, when you open up your business door, you might spend money on something, you might put equipment, you might dress up the property. That's what I used to do, right? I understood that there was no guarantees that somebody would reserve my space. There was no guarantees that somebody, but I hoped and believed that if I put the place in the best condition possible, that people would show up. I don't know where they would show up, why. I don't know how they were going to show up. Obviously, you show up because you begin to market, right? You begin to position yourself in your business by telling people that, hey, I have something great. Okay, well, then that means the principle of anything else doesn't change. I mean, it says, hey, it's not personal. I just need to get it executed. I look at my calendar every day with the idea that I just got to figure out how I'm going to execute my day. It's not personal who decides not to show up. It just means that, well, what's next? And what do I do to get the version of myself executed? Hey, it's not personal if someone doesn't show up. It's not personal if somebody says no. It's not personal if someone actually quits. It just means that for whatever is happening in the background of that person's world, I can't control it. What I can do, though, is as long as I'm breathing, I can control the execution of me. Hey, you know what? We had an appointment this morning. The individual didn't show up on the appointment. Did you know what I did next? I picked up my list from the Girl Scout event and I started calling people and I booked a new appointment. See, that's why I tell you I love the law of large numbers because the law of large numbers says you don't show up, I go get somebody else who will show up. If that person doesn't show up, I'll get somebody else who'll show up. What that means is that the only person who has control of this conversation is me executing. And do you know what I also picked up? Yesterday I put out a flyer. I'm about to write my own movie. I am the director of my movie. You're not. Don't take it personal. I told the person, right? I told everybody in the world, don't take it personal if I make $12 million. Because my mental version of execution says, yes, we will create 18 plus agencies. We talked about it last night. That's my goal. Princess Map said it beautiful yesterday. That's Hans's goal. So don't take it personal. What is your goal? And I won't take it personal. If your goal is XYZ and that's what you plan to accomplish, then I'm extremely excited. And there's nothing about me that should take it personal. See, I understood that because I am a director of my faith, and that is the faith of executing my entrepreneurial goals. And my entrepreneurial goals will position me to hit the milestones of success that allows me to create the movie. I am the movie star. My wife and I are the movie star of our future. What that means is that when I create the movie, all I'm saying to everybody else is that this is my dreams and visions. Let me give you guys one more piece of nugget before we move out of the four agreements section. Dreams and visions are powerful. Keep in mind, this is not a product conversation. This is our mastermind. If you don't see a peer here on this call, go ahead and reach out to them and let them know that we're talking vision, we're masterminding, and we're telling people we're building a level of freedom. See, in my movie, Miss Princess Map, Mr. Jones, as the director of my movie, I am looking to build freedom, Miss Tammy. At the end of my movie, right? You know how when you get close before the credits, you ever seen some movies, and they be like, "Hey, he won the war," or "It was a fight." You guys, I'm a big Optimus Prime, Transformers. You know what I like about Transformers? Because at the end they win, but they have to go through the battles of situations. And Optimus is like, "Yeah, I get it. I don't take it personal. You don't like me. You're gonna crush me. You're gonna put something in my chest, whatever it is." But I got to get back up because it's my movie. See, the directors of every movie gets a chance to finish the story the way that they want. That is the powerful idea of understanding that when you read these books, what the book is really doing for you is saying, yes, you can position yourself differently, Miss Marlena. If you begin to position yourself differently, you begin to understand that you could do anything that's possible. What does that mean? What does that mean? Moving forward, the only language that I will speak is a language of freedom. Because in my movie, I get a chance to win. And it's not personal. Please don't take it personal if I make $2 million dollars a month. Please don't take it personal if I figure out how to make $10 million dollars a month. That's the movie that I'm writing in my mind. Sometimes my family asks me, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Yes, I am." I answered it the other day. And I said, I'm crazy enough to create legacy for my family. Are you going to complain if your nieces and nephew get a chance to go to college because somebody left them money behind? So then relax. And I don't do it in a negative or a fresh way because I'm from Brooklyn. My family's tough. They got tough skin. My wife's from Patterson. She's got tough skin. But what we did understand, though, is that regardless of the conditions that we grew up in, there was some people who shared their movies with us along the way that says, yes, there is a better life than the block. Because sometimes people get served a limitation. Well, your life only stands here at this corner. Your life only stands here in this state. Your life only stands in this city. And the best thing my mom did for me was to send me away. She says, you know what? When I went 17 and I was in Greece, I realized that there was more to life than my city block. If you begin to understand when you guys get on these calls, don't take any of it personal. Before I move forward to the next section of what I want to share, I don't know if there's any comments or feedbacks of anybody that wants to share a little bit because I do have one more piece I'm going to give you guys, but I said I was going to keep myself contained to 15-minute segments. So, Ms. Gabrielle, I see you smiling there. You look unmuted. Love to hear your voice,
Yeah,
sis.
I actually did mute myself because I read the book in like less than a day. It was a very powerful read because again, I allowed it to speak to me, not take it personal. Um, just be open and honest. It's true. And then it helped me with the approach in business, just like you shared. You know, we don't know why we had a cancellation, why we had a no show. Let's move on to the next person. Don't make assumptions. My mind is always working as a mom. I'm always like I had such a hard time last week as my daughter is going into high school, and I just want her to make the best choices, and I'm already assuming the worst possible case scenarios. But no, 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 no. We continue to guide her, um, direct her attention, just like we can direct our clients attention as to what is important for them, right? For financial foundation. So I really enjoyed the book. I texted Marlena last night. I was like, oh my gosh, I just finished it. It made me cry because it really spoke to who I am as a person. So it was just a very, very powerful read, really easy, really simple to understand. Um, so yeah, so I encourage you if you haven't read it, absolutely. Don't take things personal. And that's yeah. Don't make yourself out the victim. Don't be so judgmental. Yeah, it was be impeccable with your word and just show up. Thank you.
It's no, I'm glad you got a chance to experience what I'm experiencing. And when
Hmm.
she said be impeccable with your word, what I found out was that there were sometimes, Miss Gabriella, I was speaking against myself. Oh, I know this person ain't
Yeah.
gonna show up on the appointment. You know what? Let me go ahead and get and do something else because they ain't coming. I literally
Yes.
was cursing my business.
Hmm.
It sounds weird, right? I don't, you guys may like, so when you start hearing words cursing, what I understood that the power of your mouth is extremely great and extremely dangerous. You ever see where if
Yeah.
I spoke to my wife a certain way, she'd be like, why are you speaking to me? What I was really doing her was that with my words, I could possibly hurt her. And I had to learn how to speak in beauty. And the same way you have to speak in beauty to your woman that you care for, or the man that's in your life, or your children. For example, if you're saying to your children that you're never going to get anywhere, that's exactly where they might possibly end up. But if you say, no, I get it. I think you're going to be great. I've been telling my kids I've told one of my kids, you're going to be the smartest one out of all of them. Not because the other ones are not smart. It's because I understood that that version of him has not shown up yet, and I have to tell him that this is what's true for you. So I needed to change the language around my own children, and that means I got to change the language of my. Go ahead, Ms. Gabbard. It looks like you were going to add one more piece. I didn't want to cut you off there. I saw you
Oh no,
moving.
no, that's good. That's really good. And I read the book last night after I had a little moment with my kids. They were bickering and fighting with each other. And I turned around and pinched him. I'm like, that's enough. And I pinched him. And then as I'm reading this book, it's like, oh my gosh, had I read this book, I could have approached it better and I could have said, hey, do your best. Try to do your best. Come on, guys. You can do it. But I did. I have to admit to it. I reacted and I pinched them instead of, hold on, don't make this personal. Help them grow. It's kind of like your choice. Build beauty around them and who they can potentially be and who they, yeah.
No, and
So
all
anyway,
she's saying, guys, is that it's the same principle that you applied to now your
yeah.
agency. Hey,
Uh,
I don't know why you didn't show up to the meeting, agent, or a brand new person or whatever, but there might be something really happening in your background that I do not know. Yes, your mother could be sick. Yes, that could be true. So I don't need to be offended. Hey, next time, why don't you make it to Tuesday night's meeting? Next time, why don't you show up to Saturday's meeting? It doesn't mean you're a bad person. I just realized it in my mind, like, okay, well, there are things happening, but how do I speak to the people around me? So I made a declaration that I only can speak goodness to Gabriella. You're gonna win, Gabriella. You're gonna figure it out. Things are gonna change for you. You're gonna improve. You're gonna become excellent. You're gonna become one of the superstars on the platform. It reminded me when I met Miss Monica. She said, I want to become a great speaker. The only thing I could think at that time is, Miss Monica, you're gonna be one of the great speakers. You're gonna walk on stages and you're gonna be able to spell and talk to people in the most powerful way, and your voice will matter. Now, I don't know what I was doing at that time, but a version of me, this is it, right? The version of me said, speak to her in goodness. So that applies to everybody, though. See, like Hans, don't be a great director on the phone, but be a great director to your mother, be a great director to your children, be a great director to your wife, be a great director to your community. Be the value speaker within your environment. So that when they don't show up, it's nothing personal because you believe in value anyway. Anybody else before we move to the next section of the conversation? I see a couple people
Yeah.
popping up. I just want to make sure I
Yeah,
don't mute anybody. Go ahead, Mr. Jones, sir.
yeah, I'll make it really brief.
No, no,
But
no,
like
no. Do
going
your thing.
along
Do your
with
thing.
what you said and what Ms. Gabriella said, like don't take it personal, right? What rang in my head with that is control what you can control, right? So for example, when you talked about someone not joining the meeting or you had a meeting booked and they didn't show up, but you went out and controlled your activity, went and got another meeting on the board, right? So you replaced the missed meeting with another meeting by doing the activity and controlling what we can do, right? Um, and in addition to that, like this whole movie analogy is really like ringing in my head, right? And um, one of my favorite songs by an artist from Philly is called "Make Sure the Cameras Keep Rolling," right? So no matter what's going on, just make sure the camera is rolling. We can't hit cut just because somebody didn't show up or that prospect that you had that was super interested seemed like the opportunity was all for them. For some reason, they kind of ghosting you now, like, and you just keep controlling what you can control, keep the cameras rolling, keep following up, just keep doing the activities every day because the outcome will come eventually, right? Like you said, the law of large averages, that outcome is going to come eventually. So,
And you're not wrong at all, sir. I believe in what you said. I like the idea that you said, "Hey, keep the cameras rolling." Because when I was me and Miss Tammy were on a call, and I was like, listen, I'm getting on because I had to be the principal and be constant. The client can be variable as they choose to because I don't really know what's happening. See, the director says, "Get it." If you ever really been on a movie scene and the director's like, "Yo, listen, man, move it, move out my way. Next, next," because he's like, "I gotta finish the movie." Matter of fact, Mr. Kyrie Jones, the reason why I got so excited, and Miss Gabriella, the reason why I got so excited, I was like, "Let me just finish this movie." Because if you don't want to be in the movie, it's okay. We will write another movie again. And maybe when you get to that movie, you can be the actor there too. But if you don't want to act, I still have the job to finish and find the actors of my movie so I can build one of the largest agencies. And I want you guys to understand, Mr. Jones, you have that control. You are the director of the dreams and visions that you've had since day one. See, before Hans Augustin met Mr. Jones, you had dreams and visions that you wanted to execute. I can't stop you. I don't have that kind of control. I could potentially help you, but you know what? If Hans gets offensive on the phone, don't take it personal now. Hans doesn't have the right to disrespect you, though. He does not. He has the right to elevate you and move you into the level. So even I had to learn how to become a great director. So those day ones, people that I fired on that call, my apologies. I wasn't a great director yet, but I'm about to become one because I understood that the movie that I'm going to create is going to have a great finish. Let me share with you guys one more thing, and I'm going to open up for some wins and some opportunities. And this is one of the things that you guys will begin to realize that what we're doing here, at least as part of this organization, is we're literally building an empire of financial services. I'm not going to go into what Mr. Samad shared with you guys last week, but I will tell you as a refresher what he said that you guys want to be clear about is that there are some philosophies that you should have as you engage people. And last night, I shared with people, I'm going to jump really quickly, that these standards stand to be very true with people, that in our ability to serve people, if you understand that these are realities for people all across the United States, you will not ever not have a client. When they say there's no such thing as a teacher's appointment, it just happens to be that the person plays a role as a teacher, but they have these true problems. It doesn't matter if they're a business owner, that business owner has a time tax inflation, risk, liquidity, retirement, and a wealth transfer challenge. They got one of these, at least at a minimum, if not all of them. But I want to move fast forward. So we talked about the principles last night. Go ahead and look that up. We're not going to go over that again. But here's the key to the puzzle. If you guys begin to understand that the financial needs analysis document that we talk about consistently is going to give you the best approach possible. What that means is that once you've met this individual, whoever that is, whether they're a teacher, a small business owner, military, whether they are an athlete, whether they are a president of the United States, whether they are a politician or mayor, out once they take that jacket off, they got a challenge. The challenge is, how do they beat taxes? How do they beat the risk that they are facing? The risk is tied to the idea that if they die too early, their inability to bring income to their family shifts. Or if there's a house that they worked really hard for to put the down payment on, you guys know if you had to put 20% down on a house, that means literally $100,000 of your money, $20,000 of your money, $50,000 of your money is at risk. If you really begin to realize what that means, is what it's saying is that, hey, whoever does that activity has a challenge to make sure that if they are not living, how do they continue to pay for those expenses? That's what life insurance is for. But you can't pull the life insurance hat until you understand what the need is. As you begin to understand what the need is, now you can build a relationship. The F&H form that you guys are using is not an audit sheet. Now, I used to be an auditor too. When I would walk on most appointments, hey, give me your name, your phone number. Whoa, 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 hon, you just met me. You didn't say hello. You didn't say how you doing. You don't ask me nothing. The other day we were on the phone with a teacher. She made us laugh. I forgot what state she was in, but she started throwing jokes. Maybe she felt like it was, and I realized that sometimes I can get highly focused on the idea of what I'm trying to, my transaction world will try to show up in my F&A world. So I'm not judging you. I'm just letting you know that I'm the same as you. But in order for me to become greater at the F&A, is one of the first things I'm going to have to do is become an active listener. Lately, sometimes I'll get really quiet on the call. It doesn't mean I'm not paying attention to you. It actually means that I'm really paying attention to you. Because I found out that I love talking, I enjoy it, but sometimes I have to be the active listener, Mr. Jones. And then as I begin to position and build my rapport with people, I got to make sure that I identify what are the challenges. So, hey, Miss Marlena, if you have a family, I got to find out what is your concern. If I do not begin to find out what you're concerned on and understand that I don't have enough trust built up with this person to say that when I show them a solution, are they ready to execute and move forward? Matter of fact, in the financial needs analysis, if you begin to understand and find out what the biggest problems that they have. So sometimes when we get on the phone with folks nowadays, we're like, listen, what caused you to take this appointment? What was important to you? What's the number one challenge that you may have today? Or what is it that you needed to understand? If I can't find a problem in the very beginning, as I go through the financial needs analysis, I begin to realize there are problems that are starting to present itself. And one of the things I love about an F&A is that I literally tell people that I begin to take a picture of their situation and I can begin to understand what the client needs are. It says to effectively support clients, it's crucial to identify their unique challenges and ensure that solutions align with their personal goals and their financial aspirations. I'm going to keep this very short. I'm just giving you guys some exposure. You start to gather the information that you need from them so that you can understand how you're going to solve it. Because if there really is a problem in their situation and you now have the things that are important to them, I'll hear people talk about their kids. They'll be like, man, my son is doing very well. very happy about his practice. So that means her son is important to her. If I begin to properly, respectfully, trustworthily, why talk about her son and say, hey, let's see how we can improve the coverage, or let's see what we can do to help build more money for your son. It's great what you've done so far. Looks like you guys are growing on a great account. Maybe there's ways that I could help you improve that for your son. But I got to have the information in hand. As I talk to people, I got to make sure that I'm doing the same thing. See, the other day when we were having the conversation, and trust me at this moment, that what we're building is a bigger business. You can't say billions of dollars if you don't build an infinite information, an agency structure that has the ability to support that kind of flow. In the $1 billion, you'll make 500 first, you'll make 1,000, you'll make 10,000, you'll make 100,000, you'll make 1 million. But in the same thing, if you take the $500 goal and you learn how to create a real evaluation, it doesn't mean at that level it needs to be a 2-hour F&A. It could be just as simple as saying, hey, what are you trying to get accomplished? What's important to you? Oh, you don't have any funeral coverage? Great. Let me ask you a couple questions. What's important for you how much were you thinking was important to you? And let me get some more information so I can understand the best way I can help you. Let me find out what the options are. Hey, you just bought a house? Oh, has anybody actually made sure that you have that properly covered? Has anybody shared some information on how mortgage protection works? Hey, you're interested in retiring? Great. Let me sit down with you and we can kind of understand how to run an analysis about your situation to see what's the best solution that we can extend to you. See, one of the reasons why I had to change that for myself is because I didn't look at people from a holistic standpoint. If I didn't do this part well, which was the ability to look at you from a different standpoint, which is analyzing their situation and making sure that I understood their situation and their scenario, now I can do something better for you. As you guys grow this business, what you're going to do is that you're going to end up presenting solutions, but you got to come up with a customized strategy for everybody that's individual. Hey, your strategy might need $1 million. Your strategy might need $10,000. Your strategy might need a Roth. Your strategy might need an IRA. Your strategy might mean an index universal life. It depends on what's happening with the customer. Clients and customers are two different people. A client is somebody that you're going to see every 6 months to a year. A customer might come in and just purchase something, but some of the best customers will become your best clients. So if you treat your customers with a trustworthy approach, maybe they'll give you an opportunity to do more. Sometimes your customers will say, hey, Hans, I just really need a great term policy. Can you show me exactly what I need and have? Don't stuff anything else down their throat. Show them what they asked you for so that you can position the next opportunity. You're going to take that customer and you're going to convert them into a client. I take customers all day long. Then I'm going to convert you into a client. In my brain, what I'm saying is that let me take care of what's important to you right now, and then over time. Now, did I have to improve it? Yes. But that means that over the course of time, I had to become better. So every appointment I take, I improve my ability to become the person who's going to create the understanding of their needs and how I'm going to create the best solution. Everything is built in the phase of being able to make sure that you create an opportunity that allows people to use this framework. See, that framework says, hey, if I understand how to position you in the realities of what's happening across the United States, you're going to win here. I want you guys to really begin to realize that you are going to create great business opportunities for yourself. OIC has built a framework that says, listen, we happen to leverage certain niches, education, military markets. We learn to help small businesses, and that's the target conversation that they have. You'll begin to approve that because we've learned that there's an opportunity to create college savings. We now position ourselves and say, hey, there's an opportunity to express people how your children can grow dollars today for the future. But even that little child is your customer who you should be converting into a client. If you build a business that is more focused on the idea of how you can help others, then you will always have plenty of customers to see. And then you can position yourself and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. I want you guys to walk away with the psychology that anything is possible. But one of the first things that you have to do is become that anything is possible person. You know, one of the things I loved about the idea that they added gold on our platform was because that is another solution that I could potentially extend so that when my listening ear shows up and somebody says, yes, I'm really interested in understanding precious metals or how to potentially buy gold, now you can say, you know what? We actually just added something like that on our platform. But before I show you that solution, why don't we set up a time so we can discover what you're trying to accomplish? Because you're going to do a needs analysis. If you do that, then now they can give you the secret sauce. Now, I'm going to give you guys an example and then close with this. Secret sauce of a, let me see if I can find it. I think I have it here and I'll reshare it. Let me know if you guys can see this analysis here. Give me a thumbs up or something if you guys could see that. Miss Marlene, can you see a PDF version of
Yes.
this? All right.
Yes, we see it.
I don't want to show you this person's information all the way, but one of the things that we identified with this person, because there's a little bit more information, I happen to use this as a note, so don't get me in trouble. You guys use your standard needs analysis, but long story short, I'm taking notes as to what the person's trying to accomplish. One of the things that I found out was that she had $60,000 worth of coverage. Okay, well, ma'am, that's great. I'm extremely excited that you have it, but let's just make sure you're properly protected. And I said, well, let's do a quick dime. I said, do you know what that is? I said, well, in our world, in order for us to identify how much insurance somebody needs, we'll do what we call verifying how much debt you may have already, which means that part of our financial foundation says how much money is actually leaving your household in the form of either potential credit cards or your day-to-day expenses. I found out through doing the numbers with her, I won't show you all her numbers, that she carries $73,000 worth of responsibilities. She happens to have a 19-year-old daughter who's currently in college. And she told me specifically that her average expenses are about $1,000 a month to cover. I said, so it costs you just about what we normally tell the average individual. I said, well, we tell people about $40,000 is typically the expense that they might experience as a minimum. As a minimum. And what that means is that if you actually own this is the college part, and I said, do you actually own a home? And she says, yes, I do. I said, is there a mortgage that you still carried, or did you already pay it off? I speak positively. And she says, no, I still got about 95,000. How much is the house worth? She said about 400,000 or 500,000. Great. So we need to figure out how to protect the value that you've created in this property so that if something happens to you, we have the ability to help your 19-year-old who you are helping go through college pay off this property. If unfortunately, I don't believe in death, I just know death can happen. We can pay off the 95,000 and we can replace $144,000 worth of income that you're going to make. I said, sometimes we can 10x this, but at minimum, based on the expenses that you carry for the house. This is where McKenna is going to live. That's her daughter. If unfortunately you no longer have the ability to pay for her expenses, $144,000 worth of her income, the mortgage and property still needs to be cared for, because how long have you lived in the house, by the way, client? Oh, this is my 15th year. So you really worked hard to pay that off. So what I was saying to her was like, we might need to increase your coverage because right now you have $60,000. And if I could show you how to solve that problem, are you okay with me sharing some information with you? She said, absolutely. I said, okay, great. The next time we meet, not only are we going to talk about some of the other money that she had enrolled, I won't show you her business, but we will talk about how we could solve. Now, what I found out in the conversation was she has access to some money that she saved, so rollover potential opportunity. I found out that she had the ability that she does have some existing coverage, but it's not enough. And I educate her to the idea of why it's not enough, and then I can make you an offer. I didn't stuff anything down her throat. I learned to slow this roll down because she has goals. Hey, at the age of 53, she has 32 years worth of service. We identified some of the gaps because if you become good at this document or any F&A document, if you become good at it, it means that you can find multiple reasons to potentially do business. But if I said to her, well, the only thing you need is about $100,000 to cover that house, I missed all of this to build the rapport with her as to the reason why she might accept. She still needs affordability and suitability, but you educate. Educate means like, ma'am, what we're going to do every time we meet every 6 months to a year, now that we understand that you're properly protected, has you decreased some of your expenses? Those are the pictures of your reality. We will help you build more emergency dollars. I don't have those type of accounts, but there are plenty of banks that have a high yield savings account, or there are certain accounts that we can still open with you that have long-term options for you to access in the emergency, but we'll help you at least guide you so that we can put more money away and now we can invest and grow your money. Because once you understand the knowledge of what you're sharing now keep in mind, guys, do you guess this is the last part? I'm going to open up to you guys. The last part is that 2 years ago, if you asked me this question, Miss Marlena, I wouldn't be able to say it because I sold final expense. I would walk into your house and I'd be like, you need 20 grand, sign here because you're going to die. You're going to die. You're not going to die, Miss Marlena. I got to be careful with my language. You're not going to die. I'm being very careful with my words. You're not going to die. But what I would say to people when I walked in their homes was that was the language that I carried. Now, when I speak to people today, I don't believe in death, but death does occur. But in the event that death did occur, how do we properly protect you? But in the F&A, what you begin to realize is that you'll find multiple reasons to do business. Now, maybe today she only purchases the term. Maybe today she only purchases the IUL to cover that gap. Whatever you show her as the solution that you believe. But now, as you build that client up, hey, the last time we talked, we did put in the term, how are things going? Has your income improved? Or did you start saving the money? You know what's interesting about emergency fund? As they start to save it, now you can help them move some of it into some other options as they build more emergency dollars. My brain thinks always into the future, not because I'm greater than, because I learned it right here on this platform. So you show up to meetings with the intent to learn, to leverage that same information. So I don't know if there's any wake up and win opportunities that other people want to share or any comments about our F&A conversation. I just wanted to start opening up the door. When we catch up on Thursday, on our next wake up and win, I think it's on Thursday, I'll start sharing with you guys some more so that you as you begin to leverage your business and grow, you can present. But any comments from our leaders, other people? I see
Hey,
somebody's
brother.
like, go ahead, sir. Go
Hey,
ahead, sir.
brother. Um, I, I appreciate all the things you've said. The situation that happened while we were on the call about the young lady who kind of ghosted us. We went all the way through to the welcome email, and then it was like the whole attitude changed. And you and I had a conversation about it, and then that was maybe a week or so ago, maybe longer. And then now she sent that text. I'm sorry I wasn't able to connect. Please do it at your convenient time, and I have it scheduled. So we came up with a schedule. If it doesn't fit with yours, I'll walk her through the onboarding steps. But um, I'll admit I took that personally, and I think you saw that a little bit of it in mine and your conversation and things. And so, yeah, that really spoke to me. So, um, never too old to learn, bud. Every time I get on one of these, somebody brings something into my old brain that finally lodges after a while. So, kind of hard headed sometimes, but it's all good, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Only by God's grace. Go ahead, Miss Marilyn. Only by God's grace, Mr. Taylor. Go ahead, Miss Marilyn. I saw your raised hand. I'll add some more
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
wrap up.
Sorry. Didn't didn't hit the non-mute button. So just what really was resonating with me about it's not how I speak about other people, it's how I speak about myself. And it took us a while to get here. It's going to take us a while to get out. You know what I mean? That feeling of like it doesn't happen right. It happens as I'm speaking and going, wait, oh, soup. I don't agree with that. Like it's we need to understand that the process it took us to get here is going to be the process it takes us to get out. And also, I was reading something yesterday about influence because one of the things that I'm supposed to be doing this season is influence. And they said influence is not about trying to get people to like you. It's about building relationships with people who resonate with your mission and can add real value to your journey. And I was thinking about that. One of the things is like you go and ask how you can serve, right? So she was like, pick three people in your community, ask how you can serve them. So that was like a step I could take, which was so amazing. And the same thing with, our clients, like, how can we serve you? I was speaking to somebody else, Dorian, and she's like, don't say help because people don't want help. But oh, you can serve me. And just changing my language a little bit and how that has changed responses is so huge. And like the four agreements, like what comes out of our mouth and the opportunity for me to serve. I so agree with that, right? And I just didn't say it in a way that people could get it, right? And so it was it's just been a lot of change for me right now on that feeling of like, okay. And I went to the transportation department and roaring success. We just got an email back. I said thank you, and they were like, "You made my day by just saying thank you." And like um the amount of positive from the top up, was the assistant director and all of those. It was like unreal how much these people needed to be served and no one was serving them. And I'm just so happy and so excited to be able to serve these people. Like how exciting is it to see a need and fill a need? Like so good. And thank you, Mr. Taylor, for being proud of me.
Congratulations to you, Miss Marilyn. I think, like you said, as Mr. Taylor was sharing that, as you said it yourself, as people change, you not only change your language, you change your positioning and your thought process. And so it makes you change. And it's one of the reasons why I share with both you and Mr. Taylor and everybody else is that I also realize that I have to change too. I'm in the same position as you. I never am ever arriving. I have to learn from my experiences and begin to change, like you said. Hey, um, instead of saying help, how do I serve? Because when you do get in a position of service, people are like, oh yeah, I am willing to have you come and do X, Y, Z. And then you do get those positive feedbacks that says, hey, I'm glad you did come to serve because we really needed it. and we really wanted your assistance on that matter. And yes, there's not enough people that are coming and sharing this kind of information. So congratulations to you. And same thing, Mr. Taylor, it's no different. We build the rapport with people, and I can't take anything personal. It's not possible, not anymore, at least, or as I practice the art, like Miss Gabriella said, I'm practicing the art of, hey, how to not take anything personal because I don't know what people are going through. I have no reason to really understand what is happening in that person's kitchen table or their family life or their situation that changes the reason why they're not available at that time. The same reason why I didn't understand why, for some reason, that the only money I had was 75 cents to put in a car to drive. But something in me had to change in order to get to the position where you could do differently. Anybody else before we wrap up? I know there's some other voices that should be heard or would like to be heard. Please feel comfortable and share as we close out the call this morning. Anybody else? Don't be shy.
Good
Um,
morning.
Miss Ida can go ahead. She can go.
Go ahead, Miss Ida. Good morning. Good morning. The
Good
floor is
morning. I'm new to OIC, and I've been trying to do as many of these meetings as possible. It's one of the things you saying the word serve. So I'm completely bilingual in Spanish, and one of the things that in Spanish, instead of saying you're welcome to people, sometimes you can say para servirle, to serve you. And it connects that to me that, oh, okay, now, making those connections of how that makes sense. And I think in a lot of areas in our life, we're losing that service. We're losing that mentality of serving other people. And I think there's a need to bring that back where we're making that an important thing in our lives again. So I really, a lot of the things I've read this book before. It's been a while, but you have helped me see it and think about it in a different way. So now I'm going to have to read it again after this meeting. Thank you.
and welcome to the team, Miss Ida. Glad that you are here. This is, like I said, our learning curve. We use this call as a way to kind of increase our mindset so that we just position ourselves better. And um, I will ask you to teach me that word again in Spanish as I also want to learn. But she said it's part of the service idea that at the end of the day, it's saying, hey, I'm greeting you with service. Mr. Jones, I wanted to make sure you had a share because I'll turn into a preacher. I want to curb my enthusiasm and also be the listener. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, all good. No, that was very strong. Para servirle. I hope I said that right. I've been working on my Spanish. But I just wanted to touch on like you said, these calls, they're really like it's literally like acceleration. Like it preps your mind for, going out and serving at the highest capacity. Like I had a situation yesterday. I had an initial call with a potential client, and just trying to understand their situation and how to best serve them. I noticed there was a bunch of distractions around me, right? I'm not using this as an excuse, but kids around me crying and things of that nature. So I'm trying to, balance out that while trying to get the best out of this call and appointment. And I realized I had my brother Nico on the call with me, and I realized that we left, some questions on the table that could have been asked, right, to get a better understanding of what this individual may need. And it's not a coincidence that, yesterday and today we go over the financial needs analysis, right? So we were able to get this person to a FNA, but yeah, just these calls alone are helping me think about the right questions to ask and think about how to dive deep into exactly what they need to, pretty much accomplish their goals, right? Not my goals, not what I want to accomplish, but what do they want? So, I'm really looking forward to this opportunity on Thursdays to speak with this individual again and, pretty much just start using some of the things that we went over to kind of access what they need done and how to get that done for them. So, these calls are, great. I'm very thankful for the leadership here, and yeah, just really looking forward to using these skills in that next meeting. So
No, and one of the reasons why I agree with you is because the power that you guys will begin to realize, or the power that I had to acquire. So one thing I want to be fair to everybody is saying that in the knowledge that I have today, it is not the same knowledge that I had in the very beginning, but now as you increase it, it makes you more powerful, Mr. Jones. And what that does is that you'll realize that there are some questions that should be asked, and there are some moments where you slow down, and there's some moments where you move the ball quickly or fairly, like Mr. Rubio, is that fair? And you begin to have the language that you're building something bigger. Because now in my brain, I've underwritten the idea that you are a gateway to multiple people, client. So if I get too greedy on it, not saying that you were at all, sir, but if I, Hans Augustine, gets too greedy on this call, I now have closed the floodgate of opportunities. And sometimes the floodgate of opportunity does not show up a week later. The principal I was talking to yesterday, that is a year and a half later. She's let me in her school multiple times, but didn't care to speak to me directly about her needs. But because you show up enough times and you serve the others, that's the great word I like, every Mr. Jones. I like that. Miss oh my God, she's gonna get mad at me. Miss Ada, I'm sorry, I'm remembering names. Miss Ada. Miss Ada said if you become the servant in the process, then people will start to serve you, like Miss Marilyn is saying. That's what's going to happen. That's what we're, and one of the reasons why we lead in this way is because we're saying, hey, get ready. There's something Miss Marlena was talking about recently in one of our chats. It's like, hey, we're preparing. We're like, you ever see when you're about to have a big event at your house? I close with this. And thank you to all that spoke today. I really loved that. But I'll close with this. You ever see when you're about to have a big event at your house? And if you have one yet, or you're about to have one in the future, you'll see what it's like. That means you cleaning everything up. Because what you're really saying to your guests is, I don't want you to come to my house and feel uncomfortable. I need to get prepared. I want to make sure that the backyard's ready, the front steps. Say, hey, we're going to have enough chairs. And that's exactly what we're building here. We're not building a small agency. What we're saying to you guys is that you will serve so many people that you won't be able to catch up with how they're going. Hey, Mr. Jones, do me a favor. Can you speak here? Hey, Mr. Jones, do me a favor. Could you fly in over here? By the way, we got this opportunity to have you speak to 1,000 of the individuals that are part of our business network, and we want you to present. And you know how it's going to happen, Mr. Jones? Because you walked in and you served somebody years ago. Years ago, you'll be like, and they were just, because you did it right, you did it correctly, you did it fairly, and you may not have even walked away with a financial opportunity that you commissioned on. But the commission comes in 10 years later, and you make $1 million because somebody to say to show up in the room for 15 minutes because you've acquired the knowledge and information that allows you to present to the 1,000 people that will make you $1 million. Reason why we're telling you guys be careful. Yes, I know you have a financial need, and I'm never going to disrespect that. You still have to take care of your children, your family, yourself. You got to make sure you can maintain. You got to put gas on the car. That is real. But if you're going to build a strong business, along the way, you become efficient in the idea that there's a future group of clients that are waiting for Mr. Jones and Miss Marilyn and Miss Ida and Mr. Stephen Taylor to show up in the room so that they can hand you this big check. You cannot become the manager of the most until you become the manager of the least. There's a law behind how that works. Hans also had to figure that out. Love you guys enough to tell you go win and be successful. Don't be afraid to win. Don't be afraid to tell somebody. And don't take anything personal. If I don't answer your call, don't take it personal. I'm going to get to you. If I'm not available, don't take it personal. There's nothing wrong. Hey, if Mr. Jones doesn't answer my phone, I can't take it personal. He might be cracking $1 million code at that moment and he's rolling over $1 million. He don't got time to speak to you. Not because he's being rude. He is prioritizing the reality of what's happening, or I don't want to speak nothing negative, but I could be having something happening in my background medically, physically, and things that are not happening properly. And I have to prioritize that. That's why we tell you this is a team building activity. See, when Mr. Samad's not available, Han shows up. When Han's not sure, Mr. Jones will show up. When Mr. Jones is not available, Miss Kimberly will show up. If Miss Kimberly's not showing up, Miss Marlena will show up. That is a team atmosphere. I don't need to make money with you to be your teammate. I need to add value to your business, and then we'll be the greatest teammates possible. Now, my preacher version is going to take its hat off. I'm going to go get to my next appointment. I'll see you guys on all the other calls that we have. Make sure you guys are available on Thursday for 11 o'clock, Wednesday night for our pod meeting, and be successful. You guys have a great day. And go ahead and do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go ahead and text Mr. Samad. Say, hey, everything is being handled because we're a team. Do me that one. Everybody text him right now. Hey, we're a team. Go enjoy yourself because we're a team. Text me that. Do me a favor. Text it to him directly if you have his phone number. I'll talk to you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.